Okay. Next up is a site plan review from Milburn Associates.
All right, thank you, Chairman. As you said, we have a site plan for Milburn Associates. It's downtown in our C1 zoning district. I will go through the criteria. On this particular zoning category, we don't have any building setbacks or requirements. It's actually pretty adverse to any specific rules and regulations. Nonetheless, we do have a criteria that we do look at for site plans, and I will go through these for you at this time. First item is density. There's no housing requested. The layout, as I mentioned, it is a C1, so there's no front, rear, or side yard setbacks unless there's a residential use involved in it. With this expansion, there is no residential use being requested. Utilities, there are some utilities that will need to be relocated and moved, but they're service lines, so they won't affect any of our public infrastructure that runs up and down the access alley. The parking in C1, it does allow for on-street parking, so with the expansion, there's no requirement for any additional parking or paving on site. They do need to require a loading and unloading space, and that is being provided for on the alley. Off of the alley, there's a concrete driveway that'll access the lower level of the proposed expansion. Stormwater, because we're also in the C1 district, some of our ability to enforce the zoning or the detention requirements are extremely difficult. And I've talked to Mike about this and feel like this very small expansion of the impervious area will not have any effect on any kind of downstream stormwater issues within DeSoto. The architectural, which is also part of our site plan, the building itself will have a new canopy extended around the entire perimeter of the building. Basically, the building's being doubled in size. There'll be lap siding installed on the exterior. It will all be fire rated. We've been through that, and while it's an issue with our building official, and the applicant and building official have worked through those challenges for the fire rating. It's not anything really that the planning commission has purview on, but I did want to say that those discussions have happened and they've been resolved. There are no signs being proposed, or no new signs being proposed on the building. There will be several windows on the east side of the building, and they will be fire rated. The west side does have a narrow opening between the building and the Johnson County Library, but there will be no additional windows or any kind of changes to that side of the building at all. There will be a wood deck constructed at the rear of the structure. This will just be for some additional exterior space to complement the interior or the expanded area within the building, be off of their conference room. The air handling units, which now are currently ground mounted, will be moved to the roof, and they'll be hidden behind the parapet around the building, which is a requirement in the C1 district. There'll be no additional exterior lighting, and you do have a packet, or in your packet is the renderings of the proposed expansion. Pedestrian access, well, there'll be no change. As I mentioned, there is a loading, offloading area that is required in the C1 district, but that will be in the rear of the building. And then finally, the landscaping plan in the C1 zoning district there's none required at that location. So that's in general a staff report, pretty brief, because there's not a lot of rules and interpretation of our city code that goes into this. So with that, I'll stand for any questions that you may have. But we, as staff, recommends approval of the site plan as presented.
Are they going to be hiring more people there, or just how many are they going to have on?
Well, I'll let that. You can talk to that, Justin, if you like. We have talked about how many people will be inside, but I'll let him answer that specifically.
Good evening, planning staff and city staff. My name is Justin Milburn. I'm the owner of Milburn Civil Engineering and also the owner of the building at 33135 West 83rd Street. Currently, we got 6 people working in the building, and based on the current layout of the interior, there's several large offices and then a long hallway area. It's going to be a little difficult to hire additional employees based on the current layout. We've looked at options of remodeling the interior, and it just is going to be a little too detrimental to our, we got to keep working during the day, so it's just a little more difficult to remodel. So we looked at doing an expansion out to the south, and like Brad mentioned, we're going to more or less double the footprint of the building. The expansion will allow for additional 15 to 18 employees, is what we could add to the staff. We're looking to hire 1 or 2 people in the next year, so that addition of the building will keep us occupied for a long time to come. I live in DeSoto, live half mile from the building, so we like the location. The guys that work for me, go to Cos Coffee and we go to KJ's, and we like DeSoto, so I think it'd be a good fit with the location. If you turn to the site plan, Mike, I can go over that. It's last page. So the lot itself is about roughly 30 foot wide, and the length's about 133 feet. So the existing building's about 23 feet wide, 60 foot long. So we're going to add on additional 60 feet to the south. And then, like Brad mentioned, there'll be a roughly 10 foot wide deck on the south side. The main area upstairs will have additional 2 bathrooms. Sorry. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay. So upstairs we'll have be on the main level, have 2 bathrooms, conference area, and then a kitchenette. And then on the lower area, it'll be a finished concrete floor for additional office space. So we'll be able to get roughly 13 people in the basement and then 7 upstairs. So again, once we get the building expanded, if you go back up to probably the second page, Mike. Yeah, right there. So once we get the building expanded, we'll take out the bathroom in the existing buildings. The bathroom's right there. We'll take that out, and that'll be additional office space. So all the bathrooms and everything will be in the new expansion area. So we'll have stairs going down to the basement here, and then this will be additional office space. It'll just be an open look and have exposed beams on the ceiling, and then the roof on the first floor. And the conference area will be on the first floor, and then we'll have a deck out to the south. If you scroll down to the next one, Mike, we can. So here's the elevations. We're going to take off the brick on the front, put new stone on the front, change the color. It'll be lap siding. And then, like Brad mentioned, there's 0 setback, so we have to pull the existing siding off and put fire-rated siding up, and then put the old lap siding back on. Same deal with the windows; those will be fire-rated since there is no setback. And then we'll take off the existing shingles, put on metal roofing on the side, so there'll be a canopy surrounding the entire building. Is what we're proposing. And I believe that's about all I've got on that. Pretty straightforward. I'd like to talk on there's a letter that was floating around that Bob Garrett read. And there's been several conversations that I've had with the neighbor to the east about leading to the no setback. There's 0 setback, so we've discussed the original discussion was on getting a setback so we can allow the windows that are not fire rated, so we didn't have to take off all the siding. So we requested a 10-foot setback from him, and he was not. He did not really want to sign that, so we went back to the city, and they requested that I put fire rated windows in and replace the siding. So we went back to the neighbor again and requested just a temporary easement so I can build the building. And went back and forth a couple times, and really I'm just asking for approval just to build the building is really all I'm asking. And then if something happens to the siding, just to be able to get back there and repair it is really all I'm asking at right now. There's not a setback. I'm not asking for that. I'm just asking for permission to get on his property to build the building is what I'm
You
asking
just
for.
need a temporary easement.
Yeah, just to make sure that. I mean, I don't want to move forward with the construction and then not have permission from Mr. Childers to build the building. So all I'm asking for is just a temporary easement.
I think that's something, I don't see anything wrong with what you have, I think it's gonna look great.
Mhm.
But as far as the other, that's something that you and Terry's gonna have to work out.
Yeah. So I'm hopeful that we have that worked out.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Milburn?
I think my only question is parking related, but I know that's, if you've ever been up there when Cos Coffee is packed, I know the post office just put up signs to have that.
Mhm.
So, it says on the application 20 to 25 employees, so that's quite a large number of vehicles.
Yeah.
In front of the area, if you count the spaces in front of the building and across the street even, it doesn't get you what you're looking for. So that's my only concern. I know there's no restriction on so
Yeah.
that'd be the only thing I have.
I mean, there is a new parking lot that was paved across the street from the fire our building, so that is public.
Is that
Parking.
public availability? Oh, okay.
Yep.
That helps.
Yep.
Having that many more employees, where they gonna park, it's already packed up there, it's a good thing,
Mhm.
and but at the same time, it's like, geez.
Yeah.
Many more employees, there's no place to put.
No, that lot is 133 foot long, and we're adding 60 feet, so we're taking up the whole lot. But it's when it's all said and done. Hopefully, it's all said and done.
Is that being a public lot across?
Well, I mean, the intent, so, issue, and, the post office, having trouble getting their patrons in, so, we kind of came up with to add, be able to add down there, and delineating those, in the fire station, we put up a sign for the post office so that they have, if that lot is open and free to the public, I think there's 4 spots in there reserved for the fire.
I mean, I do know. I work up there every day, so like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I mean, cause is not open. I mean, I guess we're open on Wednesday now, but those days parking is not an issue. The main day that it is an issue is Saturday morning. So parking is an issue on Saturday morning, which my guys aren't hopefully going to be there. Right. Yeah.
Anybody else have any other questions for Mr. Milburn?
Thank you.
Entertain a motion? Have a motion and a second?
Second.
Any other discussion on this? We have a motion and a second? Roll call?
Hanson,
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay, our calendar showing that the, council meeting will be October 3rd. 17th is council meeting, and then our next planning meeting will be October 22nd. Mayor, would you like to address our council?
Well, I did, I was late, I was gonna address you to call the public, but I just wanted to thank you for your hard work at the last meeting, the rezoning, you had a crowd full, and, appreciate your efforts.
Anybody have anything they want to bring up or discuss before we adjourn? Staff?
I know we've talked before about, community enhancement and things like that. And I've been looking over that. Is and starting to be businesses are seated in the front.
We've never laid claim to them.
So I guess I would just ask, are we still working on the premises that we only address things that are?
Well, yeah, so we do address those things, but, the policy on code enforcement has been for several years now that speed violations, enforce inoperable vehicles on the street. Really, aside from those two things, and of course, anything that's public safety, things, remember, we have this list of 10 these, kind of on a rolling basis, the most egregious violations. Do is identify those that are prominence, either for the degree of the violations or the number of violations, or the ability in the community, and address those. But we don't attempt in any way to code law. It is absolutely a judgment sort of put as much definition as we possibly can. And so we're still working on that properties that we know driving by and looking at that property, not going to blame it the city for this is a constant between differences of opinion and holders community-wide as to what needs to be addressed, what doesn't need to be addressed, what is reasonable and what is overbearing and what is authoritative. We're going to walk this line a lot. Each end of the curve, don't like it.
Well, is there any chance in the
How we
future,
go.
and Mayor, I will
Or we could make a neighborhood, like if we decided that downtown is gonna be an enforcement area, we could say that these 2 blocks, we're not gonna tolerate code violations. That could be in addition, so I think it's still because I don't think we have the resources to go after, or the desire to hit everybody, but if we keep working on the 5 worst around the city, if we could do a focused effort to make that a priority for any area. We could focus efforts in an area to make conscious effort to make things look
The other thing we're doing is the carrot side. We're
Yeah.
looking at our economic incentive policies, and we'll be doing that over the next several months at the council level. And I think you probably at the next planning commission, if we have some framework there, incentivizing people.
So is that just
That'd be
for
the whole
businesses?
city. I mean, the incentive policy we're kind of looking at a community-wide. Sort of let's focus certain areas with certain incentives. If you bring certain businesses in to certain areas, focus. Our policy is very broad. It defines what we can do and says come and make an application. So we're going to try to focus that a little bit. Right. If
I
that's
would
something
really
that
like to
the
have some type of screening put on businesses when it comes to, Dale and Janice have cleaned up a lot on the corner there. There's a house they tried.
appropriate, if as a whole wishes to implement changes to our current policy. And the current policy if you as a want to make recommendations that we enhance that policy, change it in some way, I think it's you can forward it. It's a constant issue.
Do you have any other staff? Take a motion to adjourn.
Hey, Bob, just before, one thing, sorry. After the rezoning we went through at the Sims property, I had a, I don't know, fairly long discussion with Richard Hemphill, and he had asked me at least to advise the planning commission if there were some things that happened at the city council level that might potentially impact the planning commission. Mostly having to do with annexations, and because those will ultimately lead to a rezoning, because as you know, it comes in with the county's zoning, so whoever enters the city of DeSoto will have to rezone at some point. So I did want to tell you there was a property at 95th and Kill Creek, the southwest corner, that was recently annexed into the city of DeSoto. They just want to be able to do a lot split under the city's development plan. They were unable to do that with the counties, so they've asked us to ask the council to be annexed in, which was completed, I think, at the previous council meeting. So as these types of things happen, I'll give you a little brief update on that there'll be something coming your way. Hopefully they won't be as contentious as the Sims one, but this one should be pretty mild.
Thanks for the update.
Have a motion, have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Adjourn.